What's going on, sports card hobby family? I have taped this in advance because I'm actually in New Orleans getting ready to watch the Saints versus the Lions game. Hopefully it goes well. The next time you see me, I might be really happy or I might be very depressed. Today we're going to take a break from talking about repacks and what other stupid things are next. Razzes? Are Razzes making a comeback? We're taking a break to talk about sports card grading. Is it dying? Question mark? Be right back. All right, sports card family, big thanks to today's video sponsor, Hake's Auctions, founded in 1967, one of the oldest sports cards collectibles auction houses, and they keep on going strong. A huge variety of different collectibles to bid on, whether it be sports cards, non-sports cards, action figures, comic books, video games. All the good stuff is there for the taking. Definitely check out Hake's Auctions today. All right, friends, Ryan at GemRate has released the November grading data. What does it tell us? We also had, of course, Thanksgiving break. Could that have slowed down grading? Let's take a look. As a whole, a slight decrease in November, but not really much. There has been some heavy momentum on the grading side. PSA graded 1.13 million cards year over year. That's a plus 14% if we're comparing to last year. And that's made up of 573,000 sports cards compared to 560,000 non-sports and TCG. An incredible amount. 50-50 as I predicted going back a while ago. PSA is grading just about as many TCG and non-sports as they are sports cards, believe that or not. So 573,000 sports cards. CGC, a little interesting, this company. So we saw a big drop off from last month. This month they have 165,000 cards. That's a negative 39% from last month. GemRate a lot of credit because they do kind of put an asterisk here, and it says CGC TCG numbers appear to have recorded a material boost in grading activity due to its Omega Mystery Box partnership. And this was done, Rattle Pokemon talked about this. A lot of people have been talking about this. This is interesting to me because anytime you have one party or a few people that are making up a lot of the grading numbers, you know, when I think of Tag grading had 30,000 cards sent in by one investor. And so when you're looking at grading numbers and you're trying to assess kind of where's everybody standing, you know, look at the rankings and who's number 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we know PSA is going to be number 1 for volume, but who's 2, 3, 4? And sometimes you have to look through kind of the details, the nuance to see that, hey, this might be maybe one group that's sending a truckload of cards to one particular company. And so for CGC, there's a little bit of an asterisk by the numbers here. They got 165,000 cards in total. 142,000 of those are TCG. So as it sits right now, really more of a TCG Pokemon grader is CGC at this point. They do have 23,000 sports cards. So they did grade some sports cards, but it lags behind the other three companies. SGC, channel partner. Shout out to the guys and gals at SGC. They are a sponsor of this channel. They were strong again this month at 121,000 cards in total. Year over year, that's plus 72% from last year. 102,000 sports cards, 18,000 TCG. Still trying to work that up. That's a 7% increase from the last month. I was kind of hoping to see SGC have a little bit more on the TCG side, but I think it's going to come in time. We will see, but they stayed really strong overall with these numbers. Beckett, 60,000 cards, plus 20% year over year, 32,000 sports cards, and 27,000 TCG. A lot of TCG people also like Beckett. They're almost 50-50. They're like 55-45 sports to TCG. And it shows you just how important the Pokemon world, that TCG card world is for grading companies. There's a lot of demand for that TCG stuff. And of course, PSA's got a nice big chunk of it, but I do feel like that space is more wide open. People more interested in trying new things and trying new companies. PSA, of course, for sports cards has the set registry. They've got history and that sort of thing. SGC does as well. TCG side is really an area of opportunity, I think, for a lot of companies, including these companies. And so again, it never ceases to amaze me that people continuing to really grade a ton of cards. We've talked a lot about repacks. What are the cards that are going into repacks? Well, I mean, there's a lot of cards that are being graded. I assume that some people are making money buying raw, grading, and reselling. And I assume that others are just collectors. They're grading, keeping it in their PC. And I assume that there's some that are also grading, and then out of their batch, they're going to win some and lose some. And a lot of those cards are going to slide into the ecosystem. I think that's a big rise of what we've seen in repacks here recently is, hey, where are all these slabs going to go? They're going to be recycled around through repacks, apparently. That's really what it's looking like to me. But I think when we look at this, it's a down economy, but man, the hobby continues on. I think people are really enjoying grading. Pricing is really low compared to what it's been over the last couple of years. I know it's not quite pre-pandemic pricing low, but it's pretty close to it. It's pretty close to what we saw going back to 2019, 2020. I remember at one point though, in early 2020, PSA I think was $8 for bulk or something. It was very, very low. I don't think it's ever going to go back to $8 unless demand just really recedes. PSA doesn't really have a reason to drop prices to $10 or $8. It makes no sense for them to do it. They're not having any trouble bringing cards in. And really, you're seeing the same with the other companies. They're all really flourishing. Again, we don't know the numbers as far as what do the books look like, but you know, SGC, Beckett, CGC, they don't have the same sort of overhead as PSA either. You know, so it's an interesting space right now. And again, like I say every month, it's nice to have 4 competent grading companies, and we do. In sports cards or TCG and trading cards, we have 4 strong companies that are financially backed, that are really trying to gain ground and trying to get better, and that's what you want. To me, that really spells a healthy card environment for all hobbyists, whether you're collector, flipper, investor, whatever you call yourself. Having strong grading companies that people respect, that are doing good work. It's taken a long time to get here where we actually have 4 companies. For a long time, it might have been 1, might have been 2, might have been 3, and now really we've got 4 legitimate companies that are continuing to grow, trying to innovate. So a lot to like about the grading space. Are there always room for improvements? Of course, but I think there's a lot to be happy about here in the grading space, and obviously people are having a lot of fun grading cards. All right, guys, that's all I've got today. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.